Good evening, folks, and welcome back to Allergic to Stupidity. Should be Happy Saturdays today, and I always have try to have a Happy Saturdays. Just at the end of the week, finish off with something that's going to make hopefully most of us smile. Just no matter how your week was, at least let's finish off with a smile. But with what's happened in this last week, I'm having difficulty finding something that would make us all just sort of smile and laugh outside of cutesy little kitten things, which keep coming my way because I'm a cat lover. And I'm in World Curling Team, just lost to Scotland. So of all teams to lose to, that's the one to lose it from. Lose it to because curling comes from Scotland. However, with everything that's happening and Donald Trump being Donald Trump and all the tariffs and him showing complete, realize I'm very intrigued and interested with the military. So I was completely sort of disgusted or just sort of rolled my eyes because here it goes again when they had several soldiers killed in a training accident and their remains were brought back and he couldn't be bothered. He finished his announcements on the tariffs with Aren't I Wonderful and Fantastic, and then he went golfing with his Saudi friends. So, and he has bluntly said, I'm doing it my way this time. Nobody's going to tell me how to do it. I'm doing it my way. And that's literally what he's doing. He shows up at the office, the White House, does his thing, signs executive order after executive order, because that's the way he can get around the Congress and the Senate. He's not following the rules because he doesn't want to follow rules. People are leaving the United States. We have a gentleman from Yale University who has just accepted a position at University of Toronto, and he finished writing a book a while ago about how fascism comes to being. I can't remember the title of it, but it's relatively new publication. And the interviewer said, on a scale of 1 to 10, are we there? He says, no, but we're about a 6. It's not quite fascism yet, but it's pushing authoritarianism, etc. So as I was going tonight and thinking, I really should get online and leave something, I happened upon something that's the Singapore Prime Minister's message to his people. And I was listening to it and thought, this applies to all of us. So I would like to share it. And this is one of these times I'm not going to make any comments. I'm just going to let it run. And you can listen to the whole thing without any disturbance of me making my comments. So here we go.
My fellow Singaporeans, I've said before that the world is changing in ways that will disadvantage small open economies like Singapore. Some had previously questioned this assessment, but the recent Liberation Day announcement by the US leaves no room for doubt. It marks a seismic change in the global order. The era of rules-based globalization and free trade is over. We are entering a new phase, one that is more arbitrary, protectionist, and dangerous. For decades, the US was the bedrock for the free market economies of the world. It championed free trade and led efforts to build a multilateral trading system, anchored by clear rules and norms, where countries could achieve win-win benefits through trade. This WTO system brought unprecedented stability and prosperity to the world, and to the US itself. To be clear, the system is not perfect. Singapore and many others have long called for reform, to update the rules and to make the system better. But what the US is doing now is not reform. It is abandoning the entire system it had created. Its new approach of reciprocal tariffs, country by country, is a complete rejection of the WTO framework. The US has placed Singapore in the lowest base tier with a tariff of 10%. So the direct impact on us may be limited for now, but there are wider and more profound consequences. If other countries adopt the same approach as the US, abandoning the WTO and trading only on their own preferred terms, country by country, it will spell trouble for all nations, especially small ones like Singapore. We risk being squeezed out, marginalized, and left behind. We can also expect a strong global response to America's tariffs. Singapore has decided not to impose retaliatory tariffs, but other countries may not exercise the same restraint. The likelihood of a full-blown global trade war is growing. The impact of the higher tariffs, plus the uncertainty of what other countries may do next, will weigh heavily on the global economy. International trade and investments will suffer, and global growth will slow. Singapore will take a bigger hit than others because of our heavy reliance on trade. The last time the world experienced something like this was in the 1930s. Trade wars escalated into armed conflict and eventually the Second World War. No one can say how the current situation will unfold in the coming months or years. But we must be clear-eyed about the dangers that are building up in the world. Global institutions are getting weaker. International norms are eroding. More and more countries will act based on narrow self-interest and use force or pressure to get their way. This is the harsh reality of our world today. We will stay vigilant. We will build up our capabilities. We will strengthen our network of partnerships with like-minded countries. We are more ready than many other countries with our reserves, our cohesion, and our resolve. But we must brace ourselves for more shocks to come. The global calm and stability we once knew will not return anytime soon. We cannot expect that the rules which protected small states will still hold. I'm sharing this with you so that we can all be mentally prepared, so that we will not be caught off guard. Let us not be lulled into complacency. The risks are real and the stakes are high. The road ahead will be harder. But if we stay resolute and united, Singapore will continue to hold its own in this troubled world.
Well, there you go, folks. I don't think anybody could have said it better if you tried. I mean, his was very explicitly to Singapore, but it applies to all of us around the world. Trump doesn't care. He honestly doesn't care. He has come in and said, I'm going to do this my way this time. He has no use for veterans. He has no use for their forces except for what they can give him. He thinks they're losers, because why would anybody be stupid enough to have the chance of being killed? He honestly doesn't understand that. He doesn't understand that sometimes there is something bigger and you're willing to go for the bigger. He doesn't understand that. So this is the time for all of us to stop the inside bickering within our family, whether it's in Canada or it's the Commonwealth or our greater trade partners. We need to work together. And yes, speaking of our family in Canada, yes, is there problems between the province of Quebec and the Quebecois that want to separate, and the Albertas? Yes. Do they have issues? Do we need to go back to the constitutional table and renegotiate? Yeah, I'm not arguing that. There's things that Alberta has brought up that she would like to. She just should have done it not so aggressively, but when I looked into it, she's got points. So does Quebec. But this is not the time. What we need right now is all of us to band together and find new friends. Be ready to welcome the Americans back in when they're ready to play ball nicely, when they're ready to play ball by following those rules. And like that Prime Minister of Singapore said, The World Trade Organization is not perfect. No organization is perfect. No family is perfect. But we need to work together and not just argue. And like I said, when the Americans are willing to come back to the table and talk and discuss and not just be it has to be our way, we need to band together. Anyways, that's my Saturday. I hope everybody has a good day. And tomorrow's Sunday Politics. We're going to be looking at the election that's coming up in a couple of weeks and the different parties. Take care, guys. We'll see you next time.